if I remember correctly, I think there was a mention of cocaine and prostitutes.
No, I think he was just crawling up my leg to have a ball.
We didn't say prostitutes. We just said normal sluts and skanks. It's different.
Oh, okay.
All
right.
Still money involved.
Hey, dude, how's it going?
Yeah.
So we tried, we always try putting a little one-liner together, kind of like a funny little joke or something coming into the episode. Drawing a blank here, so try bringing it over to Nerd, and we went to the internet for some help, and I'll let Nerd take it from here, from what we found.
All right. So according to ChatGPT, the highest optimized intro joke for this episode goes as follows. Tonight, we welcome the man who puts the mayhem in mystery, the one and only Chaos Goblin. If your valuables aren't nailed down, consider them his now.
Yay!
Thank y'all. Thank you.
Welcome. How you doing?
Anything better said about me in my life, and
he goes, "It all holds true. It was perfect." Well, thanks for joining us, man. I appreciate you coming to join us on this early day. I know you had a long night, and I wanted to put this out before, kind of figure out how we're going to do this. Are we going to call you Chaos? Are we going to call you Goblin, Mr. Goblin? Or what
you can call me whatever. Goblin just sounds fine. That'll sound fine tonight, even though that I'm this morning, even though I'm a bird.
I'm digging the mask though, dude.
The Goblin, the nose was too big, and I put it on this morning. I tried to drink coffee, and it wasn't happening.
Yeah, we can't have the mask getting in
and so I just went into my eyes wide shut box, and just grabbed my first mask that I wear for my parties.
I love it. That is awesome, man. Well,
I always meant to ask you, have you heard of Mind Goblin?
I have not. Is that the Necro Goblin thing? Because I've been hearing about that as soon as I took this name.
Yeah,
no, it's that guy. It's Mind Goblin these nuts.
Oh, God damn it.
It's always going to happen. It's going to happen at some point. Well, Chaos Goblin, you got quite a joint you're smoking on there. What are you smoking, dude?
This is some Finnerer F5 from Big Green Guy. And I harvested my BGG Earth box a little over 2 weeks ago. Yesterday makes 2 weeks. Okay. And this is probably the tastiest one I've gotten off of that. And it's just delicious. The Finnerer is delicious.
No kidding.
Then there's the white mango, which he only had 10 packs of those.
Yeah.
And I've got 2 of those growing. I grew 2 of those, and one of them that I've got harvested right now tastes like spoiled milk and kerosene, and it's grossly delicious. Like I smoked some with a friend the other day, and he's like, "That's not right. Let me hit that again. It was like one of those type things. It was just foul." But then I've got another one in my tent that's on day 78, and it smells completely different. It's like kind of way fruitier.
Kidding.
You know how that goes.
I've got a pack of that, and just hearing that definitely makes me put it a little bit higher on the list of getting her in the garden. Sour milk. I can dig it.
Yeah. But the Finnerer, I love it. I grew 2 of those, and they both taste pretty much delicious. One's a little bit stronger than the other, but they're both delicious.
Okay. All right.
One of my favorite pastimes since I started growing is hearing people describe gross strains. So it's it tastes like when your grandma recently died and you wring out her bed sheets. Kind of like that.
When you walk into the room, when you walk into the room right after a diaper's been changed, it's been cleaned, but there's still that baby powder thing and doo-doo in the air. It's that combination.
Your wife's making a pot roast.
Oh, let me show y'all something else real quick. I thought y'all. Got
Ooh,
this right
send the
here that's
photo.
on day 10 today.
Oh shit! Look
Ooh.
at that, dude. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Who do we got inside the pot?
We have what I was calling the Lab Rat 91.
All right.
So I got two more
Nice.
of your crosses in there. I
Hell
figure
yeah.
it seemed right to only put them in that pot. So to
Hell
get
yeah, dude.
two more to go in. Hopefully one of them's a female.
I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed for you. Yeah, it was a cool. When we dropped those pots, there was I think if I remember correctly, there were 6 available, and they all went within a couple days. And
Crazy.
I saw one of them go out, and I saw I saw that it was under someone else's name, but I knew the name was familiar, and I was like, oh, I know who's getting this.
You
And
probably
then
saw the address since I.
yeah, yep. And I was like, oh, I know exactly who's getting this, but I didn't want to say anything because I didn't know if it was a surprise. And sure enough, your awesome wife was the one that ended up grabbing that for you. And it was a little bit of a surprise for you.
It
Right?
was. It was. I went up under the tree one day because I saw a box, just a random box. It wasn't wrapped, and I opened it up, and I was like, at first I thought it was one of those sound bowls that you see,
Oh,
that
yeah,
make noise. It's like, because that seems like something we would have in this house. And I was like, oh, neat. Then I looked at it, I was like, I saw a Grateful Nerd on the side. I was like, oh shit, she actually ordered that because I was showing her. I was like, look how cool these are. I really like this copper look on this
yeah.
particular planter. There
That's
it is.
great,
So
man.
that's awesome. It's
Yeah.
way
Thank you.
cool. Yeah, thank
I
y'all.
appreciate you guys for the support and everything. And
Definitely.
that's too cool. And speaking of other plants that you've been growing, you've got another one of my crosses that's in there, and that awesome little skull bonsai that you had first used for your Alabrije bonsai grow along, right? And
Yes.
you turned and burned on that, and you that one's coming close to an end as well soon, no?
It is actually on day 73 right now, and it's hiding up under the the other white mango because it got so big that it rooted down through pretty hard. I didn't want to mess with the roots. It being an auto, I've heard so much about how autos are finicky, when
Sure.
transplanting and stuff. So I was just like, I'm just gonna let it go and start more. I got more seeds, so
Yeah, I mean,
but it's that's why I got the exact same thing going again because it looks really really nice, and I can't
yeah.
wait to
I am
try it
excited
again.
to see it because I have not grown that one, so it'll be cool to see how it turns out for you. And I expect if I remember correctly, that one was under his so the cross was Chem Labrada, right? Times
Right.
91 grapefruit, and the Chem Labrada is actually the homie that did our logos that we met through Nerd. So one of Nerd's friends that did our head logos.
Cartoon
Uh,
characters.
Yep, our cartoon characters. He was the one. Hello, Brandy. So shout out to him. He was the
Yep.
one that actually did the artwork for that. So it's kind of cool how it all circles around, and what's cool is if I remember correctly, that was his first one under the new medical strain instead of it being under the miracle plant. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of effects you get from it because the one of the parents is going to be kind of like a medical mixed ratio type thing. So
Nice. Well, these two that I put in are were the big phenos. They had the B beside them. I saw
okay,
and I
cool.
don't think the first one I did was not.
Oh, no kidding.
So
Okay.
yeah, I'm kind of curious that because I've been seeing yours. Let's talk about your plants. All of yours.
Uh-oh.
Every time you put a video up, they're all just like up against the lights. How are you? You have the biggest autos right now. It looks like they're just so monstrous.
I feel like I get lucky at times. I definitely do still stunt them. I think I like to contribute a lot of my luck and success in the garden to the genetics and those particular genetics just working in my environment, it seems. Or I've at least perfected my imperfect growing style, right? So
So you're
yeah,
making your
man.
own basement land races.
Yeah, dude. Like I said, the big one I got down there right now. That's the 91 grapefruit F2, and that was from the real Camo Mom. That was the one that I really liked. That was the one that I considered the winner out of the bunch. And it's just awesome to see that I've made those seeds in my environment, and then I put it. That seed is now back into my garden, and it's the largest plant I've ever grown. It's a seed that I made in there, and it's just like holy shit, like it worked. I did it. you know um But I also contribute a lot of this to earth boxes and over to your garden. This is your first round that you've used earth boxes. What let's get a little information about your garden and kind of where you started. So you're on your second round. What got you into growing, and what was your style that you had?
A fucking bag seed. I started with a bag seed. I something from the plug. The whole reason I have a mask on is because I'm in prohibition land, and how crazy is
my
it?
Hat to you. You've got bigger balls than I, sir. I will tip my hat to you for sure.
Well, it's just we have medical now, so the only thing I'm guilty of is growing my own medicine. So hopefully, sometime things will change a little bit more. So.
I think they will.
But last year, I got a bag seed and I just threw it in an indoor, one of my house plants, and it popped up. And then I had to put that house plant out on the porch when the spring came around. So I dug that out. I was like, I'm going to put it in the backyard and just hide it behind something. We've got native gardens back in our backyard. So I was going to hide it back there. And I was like, I'm going to listen to a podcast about growing. Came across the cultivation conversation.
Okay.
Started finding out about people having tents, and within 2 months I had a tent. And I think I ordered some stuff from Barney Seeds, but then real quick I found out about Alahibre and Big Green Guy, and I think the first thing I ordered was Odin's Express, probably because I only had $35 left over after what I bought, and they were the cheapest thing that he had. And everybody was like, watch out for these seed companies, these big seed banks. Watch out. There's a lot of stuff out there that's not what it claims to be. And I was real fortunate to directly end up checking out the Discords. And
I'll tell you, it's quite amazing. I think a lot of us end up getting sucked into to that stuff, right? Like for me, the first seeds were ILGM, right? And you the stuff that comes up first, you're finding all these different things, and then but you just went right for what all of us had to kind of struggle to find, right?
Well, I heard about Alahibre, and it was when the Tangy Tibaguana 2.0 was out, and I didn't have the money to get that pack, but either Dinosaur or I think it was Dinosaur who was like, hey, he's got these mystery mescla packs that you can get for cheaper. So I got in on that, and those were my favorite of my first run. And I did all those in 5 gallons, 5-gallon hand watering. Quickly learned hand watering was not for me. By then I was already on the YAG, a Discord, and everybody's like, Sit Life, Earth Box. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do that. How many of these can I fit into a 4x4? Let's utilize every bit of electricity I'm going to use in there, and try to get as much as I can.
That's what I do. I have four city pickers in my 4x4.
Wall to wall.
That's why it's hard to move around in there and get to things, but the yield is amazing for autoflowers anyway. If you're doing that perpetual gardening thing, which is I'm definitely interested in, because we're about to have medical dispensaries here in our state, and I don't want to be spending money at the dispensaries because it's going to be so expensive. It's medical, but it's not covered by health insurance. So is it really medical? What kind of smoke are you blowing up my ass? Let's cut the shit. I don't know. It's frustrating.
Well, I'm glad that you're growing your own, and you've got lots of good breeders. I think you're the main ones you've been sticking to so far is the BGG, Alabrije. Have you gotten anybody else in there other than your one?
Yeah, of course. When I started listening to the cultivation conversation, I was hearing about Mango Smile all the time. Because I was listening to older episodes, and you hear about Mango Smile. So I ordered some. That's the only thing I ordered from Mephisto, and I still got some of those left. So
okay,
in my tent, one of the earth box was just a mango earth box. So it had 2 Mango Smiles and the white mangoes from BGG in there. So I kind of put extra in there. Some of the white mangoes ended up being male, so I had to chop those down. And then that's where the Kim Labrada, or what I'm calling the Lab Rat 91.
Lab Rat
91. I'm going to make sure that sticks for you, because I think that's a good name for that.
Oh, it's been one of those things. I've been so hesitant to put any names to anything, just in case they suck. And you know what I mean?
I don't think it's going to suck. I'm looking at those flowers on there. It's pretty good looking,
Well, there we go. That's what it is. That'll be the name from now on. So, because I hate saying those, the whole cross together. So that'll work.
It's a long one. It's a long one.
It is a long one, but that's cool, man. So your first grow, we were in 5-gallon fabric pots. And what were you using for your nutrient line? What were you feeding them?
On that first run, I did not know anything about amending the soil, add like top dressing, top feeding, anything like that, as well as I should have. So I was just pretty much using the Cold War Organics, the Bud Bread, and the Coming of Age.
Yeah.
And along with like fish shit, and Photo Plus, and I used a ton of cow meg.
Yeah.
Because I was always worried that I was going to not have enough nitrogen and calcium or magnesium in there.
Yep.
And the second time around, I've used 0 cow meg, not a drop. Yeah. Because I amended all the soil from the first run. I decided I wasn't going to buy new soil.
Now, what soil did you start with?
The Happy Frog, started with that, with a little bit of the Cocoa Choir on the top. Okay. Had a looser type thing.
Sure.
So all that I kind of re-amended with the Build a Soil, the Craft Blend. Blended that into the earth boxes. And then those little bags I had on top of, for them to start in, my local grow shop sells their own seed start blend. It's got a whole bunch of stuff in it. It's really cheap. And I can buy a bag and it will fill up 4 of those for like $8. So I started the seed start stuff in the tops because it seems to work really well for it. But
I like that. I like that idea. It gives you just that little extra volume of soil with those. It's definitely a lot easier too, I find, to probably water at earlier stages, because you can kind of tell, because you've only got this little pot to worry about.
So many people ask me like on the Discord, like, hey, what is this? What's the method behind this? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just watching what other people have been doing, and it looks pretty fucking awesome what other people are doing with it. So I'm just standing on y'all's shoulders, But
it's cool, man, to see where from your first grow with the 5-gallon pots, and then you went right to earth boxes, and not only earth boxes, but you decided to go full chaos and do 4 plants per earth box.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know if I'll do 4 again on the next round. I may go to 3, but just to give it more room, because it is definitely chaos, and it's a lot to get around. And really, I want to just build up my head stash this time around, so I could, but next time, I don't know. I'm thinking I want to get into photos eventually.
Really?
I definitely want to try my hand in it, but I've got so many good seeds right now that I'm sitting on. This is like, God, when do I stop to try to transition? Or do I just get another tent? I can't do that.
There you go. That's the answer.
That's where I'm at.
I don't think Miss Goblin would like that if I like, hey, we need more lights. We need an electrician to come over and fix our house so we can do that,
So my I stepped away for a moment. My wife just texted me and said there's a strange man snow blowing the driveway. So I was like, so I had to run and look.
Is it Diddy?
Quick. It is.
Did he get a pardon?
I said strange, not weird.
Oh fuck, we're all doomed.
Yeah, it looks like my next door neighbor paid his landscaper to do our driveway too, which is nice. I'll roll up a bunch of joints, bring it over to him later.
Hell yeah! You guys. So you guys got snow today, huh?
Oh yeah, decent, about like 6 inches or something.
No kidding. Yeah, we've been getting nothing but rain, man. All the snow that we had is gone. So
yeah, we had rain the last 2 days, and it washed away the ice and snow that we had from 3 weeks ago. Finally, because we just now got above freezing down here. Y'all are up north, and we're like down here. It's been fucking frozen. It's weird. It's usually the other way around.
It is, and I'm hoping we'll trade spots. Look, I'm sorry that you guys got to put up with it. We've put up with it for far too long. We're sending the cold weather down there. We'll take the warm weather up here. So we'll trade for a little bit.
So how long have y'all been growing?
So I want to say I'd have to look back. My timelines get really fucked up, but I want to say it's been at least 3 years now, somewhere around 3 years that I've been doing this.
I'm like coming up on a year and a half.
That's crazy. So one of the things that got me also a little bit more confident about trying to grow is 5 years ago, I did mushrooms because I was drinking like way crazy. I tried to do the 5 gram thing, and it worked for me. I haven't had a drink in over 5.5 years since I did that 5 grams of.
Right.
I have not. Now, I'll also say that I've had friends that have tried to do 5 grams to get over stuff, and nothing's worked for them. I think there's a lot of intent that has to go behind it. There's probably some therapy before and after, because I did have therapy before and after. But that 5 grams of mushroom in complete darkness was 100% beneficial for me. But
I
after
have
doing
never
that,
done complete darkness like that. That is very,
we'll get one of well, I had one of the sleep masks on. I had my wife as a sober sitter in the next room in case. Just in case I needed it. But I read that Michael Pollan book, How to Change Your Mind. I had been through AA and all that shit, and I was just like, I wanted to try something. And it actually worked for me. I know it doesn't work for a lot of people, but it did for me. So
that's wonderful. That's
then I decided to try to grow my own mushrooms because I wanted to microdose.
Yeah.
And I see y'all got the mush along, and I always peek in. I'm like, oh yeah, that's awesome. And the only reason I don't have anything in there is because I can't do 2 crimes at one time, in my house. I'm only going to do one at a time.
One law at a time. I think.
But I would love to be a part of y'all's mush along, one day. But like I said, I can only do 1 crime at a time.
We will definitely get more going at some point. It's been awesome. We had our first harvest of the grow along this past week. The first one that Mr. Judas was the first one to really do that first harvest there. And
I think they're calling him Juliet now.
Juliet, yeah.
I think I saw that on
Juliet. Yeah. They gave him a new name. We might have to keep on brand with that one too. But
mine's going so slow just because it's so cold right now.
Yeah,
but
and those all-in-one bags. Chaos, I don't know if you've ever grown what your style of growing was, but I personally find that those the all-in-one bags, they can be a little bit slower, at least from what I found.
Those little plastic shoe boxes, those mono tubs and the little plastic shoe boxes, what I really enjoyed. Perfect, I would start everything off. I see everybody uses like the corn, to get started. I did brown rice flour, and I would make cakes with that and use 4 syringes into brown rice flour cakes. And they would inoculate pretty quickly. Then I could tear those apart, and I would put those into the shoe boxes, and they would fully inoculate those, and just keep on spraying and misting those. It was a little bit more hands-on, but it was a whole lot of fun and very rewarding, because as you will learn, you can grow a small batch and be set for a long, long time. Because, it's put them away. You don't have to worry about them for a while. And for me, I don't take big trips anymore. I like to microdose. Since I said I'm not drinking it, if I go out, I play in a band, Slipknot, we wear masks there. Shutting out myself, but I am the clown that beats on the drum.
Our most famous guest. I didn't think you were going to let him know, but there,
I had to out myself on that one. No, but I do like to take a microdose when I go out to bars and whatnot. And that's usually like 1/4 gram for me. And it's just enough to make me feel tingly and not feel like, there's booze everywhere. I can need a drink, and it helps for me. But grow a batch of those, and you can have those set aside forever, almost.
Oh, yeah.
Which, speaking of, so I'm not fully alcohol sober at this point, but I know I've talked about it a lot on the past of the pod, wanting to cut back on drinking, and I'm at the point where I'm doing it. I'm really only drinking if we have company over for dinner, I'll have a beer with dinner, but I'm down 18 pounds. I haven't had heartburn in 3 weeks. I've been sleeping better. I'm not waking up with anxiety attacks in the middle of the night.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, alcohol's rough, man. It's rough.
It's a depressant, and we don't think about it like that. It falls under the depressant category, and we're like, it works for some people. Sure. Some people, I got friends that can enjoy it. No, I'm not one of those. I think I got that cannabinoid system that's hey,
it just wants it. It wants it all. Give it to me.
Yeah.
So
same way, dude.
What helped me was I kind of started losing my appetite for it. As far as using it daily, once I got my anxiety medication up. So I was definitely self-medicating to an extent. And then after that, I got the flu. So then I didn't drink for over a week. And then once the flu, like it kind of reset the habit. And then I also wasn't craving it because my anxiety medication was working. So it was like a perfect storm. I had to get the flu for it to happen, but it was good.
Hey, it took me getting like COVID or so. I don't know what it was, but it took that, like me getting really sick to quit smoking finally. So it takes whatever it takes. It is what it is.
Yeah. This stuff helps me out.
Yeah, man. Well, that's really awesome. I know I've talked about it before. I've definitely struggled with addiction of many kinds and different substances, and it went from one to the other, and then it was
Subway
alcohol.
subs. That was the worst one.
Yeah, we don't want to get into all of them, but there is a long, long line.
A foot
Get a
long
White
line.
Castle itch every now and then.
Yeah.
I know it's going to tear me up, and I know it's terrible for me, but you get that itch,
Dude, I don't know how I used to do this. Like, it was the thing. You go to White Castle, and after a night of drinking, you get a crave case. And I used to be able to eat a whole crave case to myself. And then I'd usually end up being sick and I'd throw up. But yeah, man.
You do it
Bad
again.
decisions on alcohol. Bad decisions. But that was the one thing. Like I said, struggling with the addiction, and then alcohol was really my last one. And I used cannabis to really shift away from that. And then I found mushrooms later on, and I do get medication through the VA system and stuff, and they really like to load you up on things. And I despise taking my medication. Like, it's just one of those things. No matter what I do in life, if it's something that I am told that I have to do, I am going to automatically fight it. Right. And medication's a big one for me. So I absolutely hated it. And I would go through these cycles of taking my medication and then getting off of it. And then, getting through these big swings and all these, of course, what you would expect from it. But once I found mushrooms, when I first did them, I was, of course, taking more, trying to see like, how, what kind of feelings I was going to get. And I definitely enjoyed it, but I quickly got over the large doses. It's like the mushrooms put me in their place. Like, keep fucking around with us.
It's like the universe gives you a bitch slap.
Yes.
It's like,
yep. It's like, you better slow the fuck down, I don't know, like, take it easy. And so then I didn't really want to take the big doses anymore. And I started more focusing on the mushroom, micro dosing, making the Stammet stack, using the niacin, using the lion's mane, and psilocybin. And it's worked really well for me.
Yeah.
Really, really well.
Congrats.
I remember one night when you were experimenting with the dosage of your microdoses, there was one night where I got a couple weird texts from you. And then the next morning you were like, yep, those were too strong.
I gave it my all. I gave it the college try. We, when I am definitely one of those people that gets hyper fixated on things. I think it may be my ADHD or whatever it is I got going on, but I will get hyper focused on things, and I want to learn everything about it, and I want to try to be at least the best that I can be, and make things as easy as possible. So I do all this research and I do all this stuff. So
that's what happened when I found these podcasts in the Discord. Like every moment was like me on the phone sitting there, like reading about like cannabis, and we're watching videos on YouTube. And yeah, it kind of took over.
It's wild, man. If we had, I think we could all probably say this. If we were to talk to each other 5 years ago, we probably never would have thought we would have been 3 grown men talking about gardening and growing cannabis, hanging out all the time, talking about growing shit.
Yeah, right.
I never would have thought I'd be here today.
So do y'all have outdoor gardens like for vegetables or?
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Last year was
I'm so looking
year.
forward to spring. I'm so looking to spring. As soon as I get the second run of herbs like hung up and dried and out of the way, I want to use my small 2x4 to get some seed starts in, so I can get those kind of grown out, for
Very
vegetables
nice.
to put outside before May, around May.
Now, how long have you been gardening, like vegetable gardening or outdoor gardening?
I want to say close to 10 years at least.
Oh, wow.
Just I see a lot of people on these discords make their own hot sauce, and I am no different. I make fermented hot sauces.
That's
Um,
awesome. That's awesome.
a few years when I started growing stuff outside, it was peppers right off the bat, peppers and tomato plants, and but I had so many peppers that went to waste, so I started fermenting them and just putting bottles all back, and I'll sell a couple of bottles to people at work and friends for like $5 a bottle. But I like fermenting, and it's fun. I didn't make any last year. I didn't ferment any hot sauce last year because I had so many left over from the previous years, and my head was into the indoor garden so much that it's just like that kind of fell aside. But during the fall, I got a couple more raised beds added. So I'm looking ahead to spring because I really want to. The whole cannabis thing has taken me deeper into the outdoor gardening, and I got worm bins and compost, going, and
I love it.
It's kind of it's wild how it feeds into itself.
So before we get too off track, I want to make sure that we mention this. There was some chatter over in Yag's Discord. I don't remember what channel it was, but there was word about some sort of hot sauce competition this year.
No shit.
Or not this year, but coming up, and something about some Alabrie and some other people being judges. And so
they don't want the smoke.
What's that?
They don't want the smoke.
You're gonna have to get in there and just tear it all up, dude.
I know. I'm sure everybody in here, like in there, it'd be like going to one of those chili cook-offs where it's just all amazing. I'm sure, because it seems like if everybody puts as much heart into their hot sauce as they do their plants in this community, it's all going to be fire. For real. Because everybody just puts their all into it. It looks like.
I love the passion from the community and seeing the people that really enjoy certain, not just the plant, but other passions that they have, in life. And it's cool to kind of see that come, shine through and share with everybody. So that's awesome. But so you got some raised beds. What are you planning on? If you're planning on starting some seeds in your 2x4, what are you looking for this year? What you got some stuff that you're excited for?
Yeah, the things I'm most excited for are things that will be canned, because I love pickled jalapenos. Okay. I love pickled onions, the way that we eat tacos and stuff around the house. And a lot of the food we get has pickled jalapenos and pickled onions on top of it. And I was like, why don't we have that around the house? Let's not pay that much money. I want pickles. I've got ghost peppers always growing, and Carolina Reapers. And so why not grow some cucumbers and, make some hot pickles with a ghost pepper thrown in there, and just get those.
I've done that before.
I want to do stuff like that, a whole lot of canned stuff. But then we've got an old swing set that's all broken down. Want to hang wires from it, have beans growing up those, use that as something to do. Cool. I want to take more of the stuff that's been trash and turn it into stuff to, we have this old broken down swing that hasn't been used in our backyard. Let's take that
upcycle stuff.
Definitely. My worm bin is 2 cat litter boxes that I painted and put some stickers on.
There you go.
I don't want to spend more money to grow $10 worth of tomatoes. It's like that's a lot of thing that happens when gardening happens. It seems like we spend all this money on raised beds and buy a bunch of lumber to make a 4x8 bed that I'm going to grow, $80 worth of vegetables in. And it's just
no, I think that's definitely something that we all, I think we all agree on here is definitely DIY. If you can do it yourself, right, and make it 100%. Even if it's just to get started, that's definitely the way to go, man.
Anywhere you can save money. I'm really getting into watching and learning about JLF and all that stuff. I would love to do that. I've got weeds all over the backyard that they're growing great. Why am I not, just pick them up and throw them in a bucket, and just, do that.
That's another rabbit hole to get down, man. I have very little experience in it, but I've definitely done some. It's just fun to mess around with.
I've had zero experience doing it, but this time last year I had zero experience growing herb. And now
just
I've,
do it.
it's just like you got to fuck around and find out. Jump in with both feet. And the only reason I'm not doing that right now is because nothing's growing out right now because it's all just coming out from under ice. But
yeah,
it's like I said, it all feeds back into itself, and that's it's got me out there wanting to do that because you start listening to the different podcasts and everybody's like, yeah, why don't you do this? Make your own fertilizer. Not spend this much money on that because.
That's my plan for this next season is I'm going to try to do it was kind of my plan last year, but it's kind of fell apart. I got busy and my outdoor garden kind of lacked. And that was my plan to get, amendments made for, last year to be for this year. But that's my plan. I'm going to try to hit it hard where I am only putting, what amendments and stuff that I can make myself and put out there. Cause I've got a big garden out there, and to try to buy the amendments for it, I'm gonna go fucking broke, and that's gonna be the $80 worth of tomatoes that I'm gonna grow is gonna be $300 worth of amendments that I've
Exactly. And there's no need for that. Like we all got weeds growing, right? You spend all that time cleaning around your house. Like, why not throw it in a bucket and learn how to make JLF? And it's you're going to be doing the work anyway.
What you got to do now is look into there's certain like, you have like comfrey, stinging nettle. There's so many different good plants that you could plant in those areas where the weeds are growing. Right. And use that for your amendments and your ferments and stuff like that. That's
shout out to Miss Goblin. She's got 2 native gardens in our backyard.
Okay.
And it keeps all the bees over there. We've got all kinds of pollinators around, and it's nice to go out there, and you got your microdose in the summertime. You're out there in the garden walking around, and you see hummingbirds flying around. Yep. We've got catnip for our cat. It's great. It's a great feeling. We've got 2 really big elderberry bushes that she makes elderberry tea with. And it's cool, just having stuff like that around to
absolutely
make your own apothecary. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. That's kind of my plan with it's been a slow going, but that's what I'd like to do is get as much out there where I'm not growing grass. I don't want to grow grass. I want to grow food. I want to grow something that I can put to work,
right.
Put my land to work instead of it just being this, like, who the fuck came up with, we're all going to have just well manicured lawns and grow grass.
Somebody, probably the same person that came up with insurance.
I will go through these like rich neighborhoods and there's people out there watering their grass. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
I have never once in my life watered my grass. And I'll go one further. I don't even rake my leaves. I was gonna mulch them one year with the mower, and my wife was like, "No, you don't. All the bugs lay all their insects and lay their stuff under those, and they need a place to live out the winter." And I was like, "Oh yeah." So it's like,
I love it, man. I hope that it's nice to see it. Like, again, if you asked me 5 years ago if I was gonna give a fuck about any bugs out in my backyard and what they were doing, I would have told you to go pack it. But now I'm kind of
organisms.
Like whatever, dude. And but after getting into this, growing cannabis is really the one that got me all looking at the world in a different way, right? Not just by from consuming it, but growing it and learning. I hope that we get more people in the world that are going to start looking that way, and I think we'll be better off, for sure.
I'm in like a Leave It to Beaver style suburb, so all my neighbors are like Hank Hill types.
That's nice.
They like water their lawns and everything, but they're all I learn a lot of gardening. But
we got a couple people in our neighborhood like that, but our neighborhood is like got gutters hanging off of houses and stuff like that too. So we don't have a homeowners association, or it would be a situation over
you couldn't pay me enough to live in one of those places.
No, it sounds like a nightmare. Sounds like a complete nightmare.
No way.
Like, how much money do you have to pay for the place itself that you got to have to deal with that bullshit?
For some motherfucker to come over and tell you how you're going to cut your lawn and how you're going to do this or that.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Your hydrangeas are 2 inches too tall.
Yeah.
I've got a band member who's got a front yard garden, and he gets letters all the time from this. Like every year, he'll get a letter from the state, like, you cut it back, or we're going to give you a fine, or from the city anyway. And it's just like, man, that's
terrible.
Let people grow. Let people grow their own food. Let people grow their own medicine. What is wrong with growing your own stuff? It's backwards.
I don't get it. Yeah, it'll be something. I think I like to think. I always like to look at the positive in things, and I try to just not dismiss the negative, but I hope that everybody is kind of on. You know what I mean? Like always thinking better for whatever situation it is. I hope we get there. I hope people, I think
we're taking steps in the right direction.
I can see the change, and it's definitely from past generations. I think that we're told that it was bad and this and that, right? And that's
get out there and water that grass.
Yeah. Yep. That's great, man. But all right, so back to your garden, because I want to hear more about your garden. So right now you've got a couple earth boxes in there from what I remember, right?
Yes, I've got 2 earth boxes left. I would say like 1.5. So the half one has Lab Rat 91.
Yep.
But it's hiding under this gigantic white mango. It's on day 78 right now. And I think I'm going to let it go the full 90 days just to see, because why not? Who knows? I may get a wild hair and chop it, before. But I think I'm going to let it go a little bit longer because I have no reason to. I'm not in any rush.
Sure.
Then there's the Alebrije earth box, which I have 2 Cadillos.
Okay.
Which they look beautiful, beautiful plants. And then I have one of the Diatlos Ego.
Yep.
And the backup Terry.
Okay.
The backup Terry is the champion, like tall, girthy.
Mine's huge too. I'm growing one right now.
It is huge compared to the other 2. And then the Diatlos Ego is, I would say, probably the second in line. The 2 Tucadillos, they are still big. One of them I just had to tie up a limb the other day because it was so top heavy it was starting to flop over. But I mean, they're all big. And that's the thing with those Alebrije plants. They just all seem so big. On that first run, I had 2 mystery mescalas, and they were both the biggest plants out of the first run. And it looks like it could be that way too this time around.
Yeah. I think you're going to find even this next grow after this, they're going to be even bigger, and they're going to be even bigger. And
I'm excited because when I got the pack of the 2 Cadillos, I thought they were going to sell out instantly like his stuff does. And I was so worried and Miss Goblin was down on her phone and she ordered a pack at the same time I ordered a pack. So I ended up with 2 packs. So I'm like, yeah. So you can never have too many of those, because that was a great pack.
They were good, man. They were good. That was a fun, that was the drop that was out in California that I got to hang out with Rev and Alebrije and all, everybody from the Yad crew that was able to make it out there.
I'd really love to come to the Chicago thing, coming up, in September, I guess. I'd really love to bring me and Miss Goblin out there.
Got you. I'm
smoke and hang.
I'm going to try to talk Nerd into it. We'll see.
The day job only gives me so much time to go tour with Slipknot. So I have to use some of it to get back to work. It's a tough one.
It's rough, man. It's rough. Trying to get Slipknot to come to Muddy Roots too.
Man, I don't know. We've tried 2 years in a row and they haven't gotten back to us, but there's always next year.
There's always next year. Yeah.
Stone Sour got to play.
Yeah.
That's too great.
So Nerd, what's going on with this alleged Nerd Goblin that you said people are asking for an EP?
There's going to be a full album from what I
the
heard.
Nerd Goblin EP.
People are begging for it. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, fan mail. I just had my mailbox is just filled with panties right now for some reason.
That's I wonder who they belong to.
I think Edna down the street has dementia. I think that's the real reason. But
poor Edna. She thought she was going to mail him to the Salvation Army to turn him in.
You get a box full of Depends on accident. Like, what the fuck, Edna? These aren't the panties. Why the fuck you send me?
Yeah, it depends.
But yeah, that video we made was super fun. That's my favorite way to make music. Is just like you and your friend have a silly idea and then you just go for it.
One of my band members that I'm in with now, when we first started making music together, our first project was just us. I would make some beats at home and send them to him, and he would make some keyboard and throw it on top, and we just kind of sent it back and forth and just layered it, and just had one person in charge of mixing it all to make it sound consistent, and it turned out pretty good. We made a CD and stuff like that. I think that's a fun way to collaborate. People can play video games and stuff and collaborate like that. There's no reason that, we can't do that, as musicians over the internet to collaborate on stuff. It may be hard to do stuff in a live situation because there's always going to be lag and it's not going to sound 100% right unless you got the right technology. But as far as like creating something, that's always a thing. You can do that.
Yeah, I sent you a bunch of them, but I have a whole folder of like little weird songs I've made for the years.
There's a lot of cool stuff in there. That's one of those instrumentals I heard. I was like, that's nasty. That smells like that. That smells like that white mango. Smells like that spoiled milk and fucking kerosene. It's gross. Yeah.
So for that song, I took like I had like a stock song that was like a country acoustic song, and then I cut it to my whole keyboard, so it got cut into like 88 pieces. And then sent to my keyboard, and then I just layered multiple layers of distortion and bit crushing and stuff like that on top of it, and it like I turned that country song like into its own synth, basically.
Yeah, it was very industrial, It was like lo-fi hip hop meets 9 Inch Nails, kind of my vibe, honestly.
That's another thing I like to do when I make music is I like to like set a challenge for myself. So I for example, a couple of years ago, I made a remix for my friend who's a rapper, and the song was called The Hammer. And I made every single song in the beat was a hammer hitting a nail. But I only used hammer hitting a nail, but I would morph the waveform to make it sound like, so like I would go into it. So like for the bass, I like went into it and I cut out a perfect sine wave, and then I looped it, and it sounded like a normal bass, but it was a hammer hitting a nail, like things like that. Setting little challenges for yourself to like make yourself be creative.
I did something with my phone a couple years ago where I sampled me breaking some ice that was on my fence, and and then when it fell, it made another sound of it hitting ice like so I filtered that out and made a kick and a snare out of the two ice.
Yeah, things. Like I love doing shit like that.
It's fun. Yeah, you got to get weird with it. Life's too short not to.
If I had any technology like it like any of that I could do to get on a computer, I would totally be joining you guys because that sounds like a lot of fun. But as soon as it gets to like I have to get on and learn a program and do stuff like that, it goes in one ear, out the other, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not. I can't do that.
So you're not going to make one of those Billy Strings Morbid for you songs?
I mean, that doesn't sound terrible. It doesn't sound like a terrible idea. It sounds like I am going to spend a fuck ton of time sitting in front of the computer trying to figure out how it works. And actually last night was a perfect example. I got this new microphone. I got a computer. I got a webcam to try to, make this a little bit nicer than just doing it on my tablet.
Yeah, I saw the videos. It looks nice.
And I couldn't figure out how to fucking get anything to work. I had him on the phone with me probably at least a total of a couple hours. And I just when it comes to computers, it is not my I can't. It doesn't work. Does not work.
Well, don't give up.
He's bringing it all over.
Yeah,
we're having a sleepover next weekend.
Yeah.
Don't let it defeat you.
I'll give it a try again. It's folks like you guys that definitely give me that drive to wanna, I never would have done any of this stuff unless I kind of got, not put in the situation, right? But it kind of just came up and now we're here. And I'm always looking to learn. So you guys will definitely light the fire underneath me that'll get me to just be like, all right, well, I guess we're gonna try it. Because I definitely would love to join in with you. I haven't picked up, unfortunately, most of these instruments that are behind me now for quite some time, and I see you guys doing this, and it's just it's awesome, and it brings a lot of joy to me because it makes me want. Music has always been something so important to me. I've been playing since I was a young kid, and I kind of fell away from it from a little bit, but obviously I'm still musical in a sense where I consume it as if I'm awake, there's something playing. So, music is a big part of my life for sure. And to get back into playing would be so much fun.
It's never too late to pick up a new instrument and start anything else. That's another thing. So many people I know, I hear, oh, it's too late to do this. It's like, no, it's not. It's not, Look at Andre 3000, who picked up a flute halfway through his rap career. And now he's playing flute and hanging out with a bunch of hippies, having the time of his life.
Let's do a little bit of this. Let's give a little background. What we can kind of talk about where we all, because we've all played music for quite some time. We're all I think our instrument of choice was probably bass.
Yes,
so
sir.
We all have that in common.
Yep.
Let's start with Chaos. What was kind of your first introduction to music, and what you started playing, what age, and kind of walk us through that.
My first introduction to music I'll be 48 next month. So I grew up in the early 80s, I will say, but my stepdad had 45s, a collection of 45s. And I clearly remember picking up Jim Croce's Time in a Bottle. And those early guitarists, I don't know if you've heard that Time in a Bottle by Jim Croce.
I have to,
y'all go check it out. Yeah, but it's like a haunting guitar melody. And that thing just stuck with me. I remember he had Aerosmith's Dream On. That one stuck out to me, like playing with his 45s, and like that was probably my first music thing. My first favorite bands, though, like as I was growing up in the 80s, hair metal was huge. So my first concert was Poison. I was to open up and say "Ah" tour. I went to see that. My second concert was REM, in the middle of the 80s, when Michael Stipe still had hair, like before. That was a fun time. And then I got into more like Metallica, all that stuff. And hip hop, I was always into hip hop.
Yeah.
So back and forth. And my first time I ever performed music, I was in the third grade talent show. And me and a friend played LL Cool J's I Need Love. And I played the piano part on a little Casio, and my buddy Quincy was rapping. And the school made us leave off the third verse because it was too suggestive. And they're like, kids can't be doing that. Even in the 80s, they didn't let kids say that, but they let us play the first two verses. And we did not win the talent show by any means. But
it lit the fire. That was it, right? I'm sure that first that I know that for that feeling of playing live in front of people, and especially that first time, and if it goes well, you're like, oh man, it grabs you.
And I got to play live in front of people last night. It's a feeling that I still love, and it's something that even as I've gotten older and I still have a day job, it's something that I enjoy, quite a bit. Getting out there and getting to perform and seeing people enjoying it. Sometimes times can be tough. It's nice to see people come together and get loose for a few hours,
Music is a special thing, man.
I think so too. And like I said, I've gone back and forth from genres, and I've come to this conclusion that like different genres of music are like different languages.
Yeah.
And the more languages the better you can communicate with other people, which
absolutely.
Like I'm not bilingual. I only know English, so I'm not a very great communicator. But I can communicate with music with people better, than I can verbally. If we were having a conversation with instruments, musically, anyway.
Absolutely, I agree with that. 100%. What about you, nerd? Same question.
So, I got into hip hop very early, like around age 5 or 6. because my dad was a DJ at the time, and
Hell
then so
yeah.
he had all those like MTV Party to Go mixtapes laying around the house and stuff. And then around like 9, I got into, because new metal was really popular, so I got into like Korn, bands like that. My first concert was a festival that a local radio station put on. I was 9 years old, and I saw it was Rob Zombie, Smash Mouth, Fuel, and like Buck Cherry. Like, so that would have, if I was 9, that
Was
would have
Rob
been like,
Zombie the headliner?
yeah,
Nice.
it was cool. I didn't realize how special this was at the time, but since it was, so this would have been 1998. Smash Mouth was still a ska band at the time, right?
I don't know. I don't have a very deep Smash Mouth history, I'm going to admit. So.
Oh, I like their first album a lot, and then just the rest of it is.
So, what's your favorite new metal album?
New metal album, probably Korn's first album.
I'm going to say Toxicity.
That's a great one too. That's one definitely close.
I always said that the Toxicity was like the Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill of new metal. Like every other song was a fucking single off of it. It was a good album,
Yeah, I love that album.
I was fortunate enough to get to see Korn on. I think I saw them when Issues came out on that tour. That was kind of fun.
That was their fourth album, I believe.
Yeah. It was fun times. New metal. I never got into Limp Bizkit, but I did dig Korn quite a bit, and I haven't gone back and listened to anything past, after Issues, I kind of just drifted off,
Yeah, that's basically what happened to me too. But I still love the first like 3 or 4 Korn albums a lot. The first album's good because there's like a lot of little jokes and stuff on it. But when I was when I became a teenager, I kind of got out of like radio kind of stuff, and I started getting into punk rock and hardcore and underground genres. And then I had my first band from when I was 16 to 17. That was also my most successful bands. We played probably like 50-ish gigs.
Okay.
But we were a street punk band. We kind of sounded like people said we sound like Anti-Flag.
Yeah.
And then I was in a pop punk band in college. I was in 2 different pop punk bands in college, and then we played 1 gig each. And then I was in after college, I was in a dad rock cover band for like a bar band, and we played 1 gig and then broke up. And then a couple of years ago, I was in like a doom metal band, and we played 1 gig and broke up.
You said you were in a band that sounded like Anti-Flag, and I was thinking, I saw them. them open up for Rage Against the Machine on the Battle of Los Angeles tour, and Gangstar was there. So I got to see DJ Premier DJing with fucking Guru. Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was and then I got to meet them there because they came out to watch Rage Against the Machine, and they stood right next to me, and I was like, holy shit. They signed my poster because they were throwing out full clip. It was when the double disc full clip, The Decade of Gangstar came out. And so they were throwing out a bunch of posters of that. And I got one, and I got it signed. And then I went up close to try to watch Rage, and it got just destroyed in the pit. Just still the most chaotic pit I think I've ever been in my life was at a Rage Against the Machine show. It was nuts. Like they had to stop the show like 3 times. Like, hey, quit hurting people out there, you idiot.
I saw Anti-Flag, but they were headlining. I can't remember who opened for them. My gut feeling is like Rise Against, maybe. But
cool.
Yeah, that was a good show. My friend, it was my girlfriend at the time fainted in the middle of the set because it was way too hot. My mohawk completely melted. Like
that sounds like a nice song title. My mohawk completely melted. I want to keep that in mind for the Nerd Goblin. Throw that in the titles in your catalog of titles.
That's great.
I also at the same venue I had a friend faint during Real Big Fish, and I had to pull him out.
Oh my god.
And then at that same venue a few years ago, it was so hot, my wife had an asthma attack, and then they thought she
Jesus.
was drunk and we got kicked out,
Oh,
which
That's
is funny.
terrible.
We're not going to that. All right, so that venue doesn't exist anymore. They moved it to a much better place, and that's
okay.
actually where we're going next Friday.
Yeah, next weekend
Is the new place.
next weekend we're getting to go see Atmosphere is the opener, and Sage
That is
Francis is
headliner.
Oh, nice. That
headliner.
should be
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Atmosphere
But
and Sage Francis.
Yeah.
if you ever give blood, make sure you don't play music and go drinking after that. Because last night at our show, we had somebody in one of the other bands had given blood earlier that day. And then showed up and just played a show right after, and then went to drinking, and boom, passed out like real hard and really pretty bad. And the ambulance had to show up. It's like,
Oh my
ooh,
god.
let this be a PSA. Don't give blood before you go play an hour,
Now we
30
know.
minutes of punk rock or heavy music,
Damn, yeah.
Yeah.
One time I was at band practice and I had gotten off a plane the previous day, and my eardrums were still suction shut. And then as soon as we started playing at practice, all the balance in my body just gave out and I just collapsed because it
Oh,
threw my
no.
equilibrium off so much.
Yep.
I was like,
Oh, yeah.
damn, dude. I was like, all right. They ended up having to poke holes in my eardrums to get them to
Oh,
unsuction.
shit.
It was wild.
Fuck no.
Yeah, that's why I can't. I try not to fly anymore after that.
Yeah.
Ears and eyes, like anything that like goes near my eyes or getting in my it freaks me out.
Yeah, me too.
Don't fuck with them.
So what about you, Grateful? What's your how are you raised on music?
So for me, my father was definitely a big hardcore guy. And when I mean hardcore, I mean like New York hardcore, New Jersey hardcore, East Coast hardcore stuff that was like that, like um Chain of Strength, straight edge stuff. My father was a straight edge guy. He had the little tattoo on his hand when he was, or, got really early on. So I was introduced to a lot of that type of stuff, a lot of punk stuff. We would take the train into the city. I was fortunate enough to at least go to CBGB's before they closed. So that was kind of like something that I was really proud of to be able to go. Unfortunately, I was too young to see anybody play there, but I got to go in there and you see the famous toilet with the no door sitting back there that's just fucking nasty and there's little stickers everywhere and it's what you would imagine for a magical place like CBGB's to be, especially when you're a young kid going in there to see shit, all these huge bands that came out of here, the culture that was started here. Just to be able to witness that is something special. So punk was definitely a big thing for me. Ska was a big thing. I remember those little vinyls that my father had, and they were stuff like Inside Out. So that was Zach De La Roche before he was Rage Against the Machine. That was his
Yes.
hardcore band. That was a big one. That was a big influence on me. I can play that album. They only unfortunately have one album, but I can play that shit on repeat. But stuff like that, 7 Seconds. I mean, there was a lot of stuff. I remember the first CDs that if I could think back to recall what my parents had in the car, it was Agent Orange and Operation Ivy. Like that was like I was sitting in a fucking car seat and that's what they were playing. Dead Milkmen, stuff like that,
Oh, yeah.
Misfits. So that was really what I was raised on, and that's kind of what got me really for my love of music. And then at the age of 7, I started playing violin and then saxophone shortly after that for the school band. And that kind of really got my interest in that. And then I ended up stopping that, and I found my father's bass at my grandmother's house. And it was I can't remember what year it was, but it was the Red Sunburst Rickenbacker. And
Oh,
that was the
wow.
first
Yeah,
bass
nice
that
one.
I ever played. I was very, very fortunate, because they didn't have to buy me one. I just played dad's. And my first guitar that I ever had was the Les Paul, the Paul. It was an all wood, it had the
The Paul was kind of almost like a junior model, maybe.
I don't
Was
know
it?
if it was a junior model. It was a full size guitar and it was heavy as fuck. I remember
Okay.
that. I'll have to look back at the
I
year
used to
'cause
work at a music store for like 6 years. I was trying to remember because they had so many different like
yeah,
other Les
right.
Pauls.
I know this specific year that they had because my grandfather was a big guitar. I mean that guitar that I have back there is from him. He gave me before he passed, and he was one that really got me. Like I would sit there as a kid and watch him play. He was a big like that old twang style. So he played the Gretsch. He listened to Chet Atkins and Dwayne
Merle
Eddy and
Travis.
stuff like that. So and that's he was a big guitar guy, so I got to bring that guitar over to him, and he said that the year that it was that they made that one, the Les Paul factory had burned down, and they had used a different type of wood for it. So it was like a one-off model. It was very, very sought after type thing. And like, of course, I had no fucking clue. I was like 11 or 12 years old, and I was like, yeah, it's a cool guitar that I can't fucking play. But my grandfather would nerd over it. So that was my early so 10 years old was when I first started really getting into playing bass, and then they shortly got me a Fender Aerodie, and that was my bass that I absolutely loved. Played it for many, many years, became a junkie, and then I ended up hawking it. So unfortunately I lost it, and it's gone to the times of the past. So that's very unfortunate. But bass has been always my thing, man. I've been playing it for
I
years.
love it. I used to play. I took guitar lessons as a kid, and when I got into doing hip hop production for a while, I just happened to have a bass because I'd do a bass line over top of a beat. Then one day somebody was like, "Hey, you want to play bass in our band?" And I was like, "Sure." And I started playing bass in a few bands. Just and
I love it
as
because it's
I've
one of those
gotten
instruments that it doesn't seem like it's quite as at least I feel like when I was playing it, being younger, nobody wanted to play bass, right?
right,
Because you
right,
weren't the cool guy that was up front and ripping it on the guitar. You weren't slamming on the drums, right? Nobody
right.
wanted to be the bass player.
But I'll tell you what, if you get to play with a great drummer or even a good drummer, and you can lock in with that rhythm section, it's a just something special, just like being in the rhythm section and being back there. Like I'm
Yeah.
always trying to be kind of in the back because I enjoy it. Like back
Yeah.
there, like
No, absolutely. And that was, I had played in different bands here and there, nothing ever serious as you guys did. A lot of it was just kind of hanging out with friends, jamming, drinking, and or going to open mics and getting together. Like I played drums. Me and my buddy had a little jam band, and it was just a like little punk thrash band where we do like 30-second songs, right? And I played drums and he played guitar, and we a lot of our influence was different hardcore bands, and that's really when my young teenage years that I got into like the Casualties and street punk, and started getting really, really heavy into the punk scene. um and that's what I did for a long time. And then later on in life, I kind of ran into country, and then I quickly went over to bluegrass, and bluegrass has been something that is just like when you find that music that like just touches you, right, just touches your soul, and just it just goes in your ear, and it's just what your ear wants to hear. And bluegrass has seemed to tickle that itch for me.
that's where jazz has been for me for the last 5 years, like
Okay.
real big, real big. I'm a huge jazz head. I'll go travel to see like jazz musicians play. Um,
I
I'm
mean,
not a
bluegrass
jazz
really is
musician.
just basically jazz, isn't it?
Do what?
I mean, bluegrass is pretty much jazz, isn't it?
I've kind of always said jokingly that bluegrass is the jazz of country music.
Yeah, yeah.
Both very
You know,
technical, definitely.
I
Yeah.
mean, they're shredding, and they're doing other stuff. And I've watched videos of like young kids playing mandolin or banjo, and it looks like a machine. It's just like they're doing stuff that I could never do after
It's
years and
amazing.
years of lessons. Is they're just in it. It's like in their soul, just
Yeah.
like jazz is in. I mean,
Yep, yep. Yeah, it's awesome to see when it's awesome to go see performances and people play that do really well and do great shows, but it's another to see a performer that is really, really good at his specific instrument, and he knows it, and he know like that, and especially when they have bands that are able to when you have that. Again, I always do it kind of back to Billy Strings, right? Just because that's one that I listen to all the time. They all mesh so well together. They all, when you find that band that can play so well together, and you can tell that they're communicating without even talking or not looking at each other. That's a special thing to see someone that can really, really
They're
play an
just so
instrument.
locked in. Watching Billy play is and his band is just incredible. Just
They're
incredible
something
stuff.
else.
I've never seen him live, but I've watched plenty of videos. Plenty of
Yeah.
videos.
I'm super excited actually, and shout out, the beard's covering it, but I got Paranoid shirt on today.
Nice.
Having a wonderful time. We're going to see at the end of this month. We will be down in Nashville seeing Billy 2 nights, not in a row, but Friday night and Saturday night. So I am.
Is he playing at Bridgestone?
He's playing Bridgestone Friday night, and then we're gonna see him Sunday night at the fucking Ryman. Which
Yeah, that's awesome.
about. The Ryman.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that is awesome.
Have you been to the Ryman?
Huh?
Have you been to the Ryman?
Fuck yeah. I've seen so when I was in high school, I took one of my girlfriends to see Tori Amos there.
Okay.
When I was in high school. I've seen King Crimson at the Ryman, which was amazing. Shakti, which is an Indian jazz fusion band with John McLaughlin and Zakir Hussain, who just passed away last month. Saw them there. And Bill Burr, the comedian, he taped one of his specials there, and I'm in the audience. I was there for that taping. But the Ryman is a special place to get to see music at. So
you're a very lucky
person.
You cannot get a bad seat, and the acoustics are just amazing.
It's weird when you walk around upstairs and you can feel the floor kind of move in there because it's such an old building, But it's a special place to get to see a show. It really is.
Cool, man. It's cool. I'm super stoked.
I'm happy for y'all. That you're going to have a good time.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Can I plug my band? Slipknot.
You can
catch us tonight. I'll be beating on that trash can. think we got Five Finger Death Punch opening for us or something.
That's great, man. That's too funny. Well, listen, man, I appreciate you coming to join us.
I appreciate you having us on.
Yeah, man. We're I know you're not on the socials or anything, but if you want to see any of Chaos's stuff, we're over in the Discord. You can catch them over on ours, YAG, all the ones that you'll find in that group. So
yeah, Instagram sucks. Why are they always fucking with y'all?
I'll be honest with you. I don't understand it. I've had my account for quite some time, and I haven't gotten hit once.
That's crazy because yours is pretty loud there.
I don't. Yeah,
pretty in your face.
I think it's people are getting slammed for other things. I think it's the way that they're doing things, or there's something going on that it's the way they're doing something is causing that. And then once they get the eye on them, that's it. You're not going to do it. With the big thing that I don't do, I don't tag big companies. I don't hashtag. I'm careful. I try not to use certain words. Don't do giveaways. There's a lot of things that they're going to find you, or if you're adding a bunch of accounts to try to get people to follow you, that's going to get you slammed. There's a lot of shit out there that's going to get the eye of Instagram on you, and they'll come down on you hard. So it is what it is. If you fuck around, you're going to find out.
Keep doing what you're doing. Hopefully one day we can all post our stuff out in the open, but I do agree with it. Everybody's saying that like Discord is way better and the community there is great.
Absolutely.
Shout out to everybody at YAG. They've helped me out just as much as anyone else, and cultivation conversation.
Them boys,
definitely.
Them boys and girl. Oh yeah. Well, listen, again, I thank you. I think we had a great episode here. Y'all got anything else you want to mention before we're out of here?
I can't think of anything.
Cool.
No, I think I'm good.
All right, guys.
Keep them crosses coming.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited to see you keep growing them, man. Again, I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We'll see y'all later. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.